Friends, this is a video for imparting a class regarding Ayurveda on the basis of the textbook called Ashtanga Hrudayam, which is considered to be the principal textbook in Ayurveda, usually considered to be important in the primary learning of Ayurveda. Ayurvedic literature is a very vast literature. It has many types of textbooks. Among them, Ashtanga Hrudayam is considered to be precise, practical, and the basic text, usually included in the curriculum of BAMS studies or UG studies. For PGs, there are many other advanced textbooks like Charaka Samhita, Susruta Samhita, etc. But Ashtanga Hrudayam is considered to be the very basic textbook for the radical learning of Ayurveda, especially for those who are a beginner learner in Ayurveda. Ashtanga Hrudayam was written during around 5th to 6th century of AD. And here you can say, I hope all of you can follow the Devanagari script, that is a Hindi script, the same. It's written in Sanskrit, but the script of Sanskrit is same as that of Hindi, Devanagari. So I think you can follow the script written here, because in this lecture I intend to follow a classical method of textual learning in Ayurveda. We are going to the actual source material from where you can learn Ayurveda. It's not my interpretation. I'm not presenting my interpretation. The presentation is based on the original material available in Ashtanga Hrudayam. That is the way of presentation which I am planning to impart here. So even though you are not familiar with this Devanagari script, it will not make much difference because I will be explaining each and every term. So here you can say the Ashtanga Hrudayam Sutrasthanam Prathama Adhyayam, something like that. In Ashtanga Hrudayam there are 6 sections. The primary section, the first section or foremost section, is called Sutrasthanam. Sutrasthanam. The meaning of Sutram is thread. That means Sutrasthanam is the thread of the whole textbook. Or you can say Sutrasthanam, in any textbook, Sutrasthanam is the thread of other sections. Without the knowledge of Sutrasthanam, you cannot advance to other sections. Even if you have a complete knowledge on Sutrasthanam, even though you are missing some portions in other sections also, you can manage. But without knowing the details in Sutrasthanam, you cannot manage anything. So Sutrasthanam is the cardinal section, you can say the cardinal section. Or even Ashtanga Hrudayam is a Hrudayam of Ayurveda. Hrudayam means the essential part or vital part. Ashtanga Hrudayam. Ashtanga means, Ashtam means 8, Angam means branches. So there are 8 branches of Ayurveda. So Ashtanga Hrudayam is the essence of those branches that we will discuss later. And Sutrasthanam is the very basic or preliminary section of Ashtanga Hrudayam. And there are some other sections for this textbook. Usually an Ayurvedic textbook will be written in different sections. For Ashtanga Hrudayam, it is well written in 6 sections. Primary one is Sutrasthanam, where the basic principles, the preliminary knowledge of preventive medicine, preliminary knowledge of instruments, preliminary knowledge of procedures, the preliminary knowledge about any aspect of Ayurveda which will be detailed in other sections will be dealt in Sutrasthanam. The preliminary knowledge will be dealt in Sutrasthanam. Those which are explained in Sutrasthanam will be detailed in other sections. The second section is called Sharirasthanam, where Shariram is something related to Shariram, where the anatomy and physiology of Ayurveda is explained. The third section is called Nidana Sthanam. After Sharira Sthanam is a normal physiology. Nidana Sthanam will be the abnormal physiology. Nidanam means, the word meaning of Nidanam is causative factor, that is etiology. That means etiology of diseases. So naturally it comes as an etiology, symptomatology, pathology, and even prognosis also. So such pathological knowledge of diseases or abnormal physiology is dealt in Nidana Sthanam. On advancing, the next session should be Chikitsa Sthanam. Chikitsa Sthanam means treatment. Chikitsa means treatment, where the diseases which are explained in Nidana Sthanam will be dealt with on their treatment basis. In between Nidana Sthanam and Chikitsa Sthanam, there is another section called Kalpa Sthanam. Kalpa means formulation. Formulation means the drug formulations, or you can say the pharmaceuticals. So before going to treatment, you have to have the medicines with you, the prepared medicines with you. So in between Nidana Sthanam and Chikitsa Sthanam, there will be a section called Kalpa Sthanam, in which the drug preparations are mentioned. And finally, these 5 sections mainly deal with the general medicine. You can say general medicine. If you divide the whole Ayurvedic tradition into 2 traditions or 2 schools or 2 traditions or schools, you can divide total Ayurveda into 2 approaches. That is, one is a medical approach or medical school, and the other one is a surgical school. This textbook Ashtanga Hridayam is basically pertaining to the medical school of Ayurveda, and there is the master textbook in medical school is called Charaka Samhita, which was written by Charaka, and on the other side there is another textbook called Sushruta Samhita, which is dedicated to surgical tradition, that is called Shalya Tantram. So this Ashtanga Hridayam is basically a medical textbook. So these 5 sections are oriented in such a way that it helps a person to practice a medical system of Ayurveda. Apart from this medical system, that is the Kaya Chikitsa, that is called Kaya Chikitsa. Apart from Kaya Chikitsa, other branches are dealt in the 6th section called Uttara Sthanam. Uttara means it's a later section. Uttara means later. Or you can call it as an appendix, the later section. So Uttara Sthanam deals with branches like biologicals, that is pediatrics, psychiatry, toxicology, ophthalmology, even surgery. And addition 2 sections are there, that is rejuvenative therapy, that is Rasayanam, and even Vajikaranam. Vajikaranam means aphrodisiac therapy, or you can call it as a reproductive medicine. So such additional branches of Ayurveda are totally explained in the Uttara Sthanam, or the later section of Ashtanga Hridayam. So in such a way, Ashtanga Hridayam is arranged in 6 sections, among which Sutra Sthanam is the area where the very basic concerns of Ayurveda is described. Even in the Sutra Sthanam, there are 30 chapters, in which the first chapter is called Ayush Kamiyam. Ayush Kamam means, Ayush means life, and Kamam means desire. So it's something related to desire of life, or quest for longevity, you can call it. So we consider Ayush Kamiyam as the essence of the whole Sutra Sthanam, because Ayush Kamiyam is the content of Ayush Kamiyam is the precise introductory knowledge about the terminology which are applied in Ayurveda at a larger scale. So it's a preliminary introduction of terminology. Even you can call it as a glossary. Glossary means the terms which are vital in Ayurveda are introduced in Ayush Kamiyam Adhyaya. So it is very important. So in toto, you can say Ashtanga Hridayam is the essence of Ayurveda. In Ashtanga Hridayam itself, Sutrasthanam is the essence of Ashtanga Hridayam. Ayushkamyam is the essence of Sutrasthanam. So that is the importance of Ayushkamyam. I will be reading the slokas first, and then I will go on to the meaning of individual terms. It is not that much complicated. I am not going to make my own interpretations on the meaning. I will be directly dealing with the what is there in the slokas and all. And if you feel any difficulty in understanding this sort of transaction, you can comment on that, and I can move on to another mode that slokas are not dealt properly. I will be discussing the meanings only. If you feel that as an ideal procedure, I can switch over to that also. Now I am dealing in a classical way. So the first sloka is a salutation to, usually what happens in Indian tradition of literature is Ashtanga Hridayam basically is a literature tradition. What happens is before starting the actual content of the textbook, there will be salutations to somebody. That can be a god, that can be a guru, that can be a master or something like that. Here also the Vagbhada makes a salutation to Apurva Vaidya. Here is a term Apurva Vaidya. Apurva Vaidya means Vaidya who is uncommon, or who is a special, or who is a pioneer, you can say, or a rare species of physician. It's called Apurva Vaidya. So Apurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai means I salute the rarest of rare type of Vaidya. Not mentioning the name. Some can be, you can interpret in your own way. It can be a god, it can be, somebody says that Vagbhada was a Buddha sage, so Apurva Vaidya is Buddha himself. That needs interpretation. I'm not going to those details, but starts with a salutation to Apurva Vaidya. And who is that Apurva Vaidya? What are the specialities of, what are the peculiarities of that Apurva Vaidya is explained in the other part of this remaining part of the sloka. So it starts with the Ragadi Rogan Satatanu Shaktan Asheshakaya Prasutan Asheshan Aunsukya Moha Aratidan Jakhana. Jakhana means one who kills or one who alleviates. So Apurva Vaidya is going to kill or destroy or alleviate some sort of diseases. That disease is Ragadi Rogan, a group of diseases which starts with Ragam. Raga Adi means Raga, etc. So the first and foremost disease which is enlisted as per Vagbhada is Ragam. Ragam is a desire. Desire means it's a sort of attachment to the worldly pleasures. That is called Ragam. So he considers the beginning of disease in Ragam. I'm not going to the philosophical details. You can infer what is the philosophy behind considering raga or desire as the cause of the disease. Any sort of disease, may it be physical, may it be psychological, the root cause is considered by Vagbhada as ragam. So he considers the whole group of diseases as ragadi rogan, the diseases which starts from ragam. Okay. What are the peculiarities of those diseases? Satatanu Shaktan. Satatanu Shaktan means which is present constantly, permanently. That is Satatanu Shaktam. Asheshakaya Prasrutan means it pertains to, it pervades to the whole body. Asheshakayam. Kayam means Shariram. Ashesha means exclusively or completely. So it pertains to, these diseases affects the whole body. Such diseases, the complete list of such diseases or all those diseases which are there enlisted as Ragadi. That is called Ashesha. Ashesha means Ashesham. Nothing is left back. So the Apurva Vaidya treated some sort of diseases which starts from Raga, which is pertaining to the whole length and breadth of human body, or even the whole length and breadth of mankind, or even all the living organisms also. So Ayurveda, theoretically, Ayurveda is not a science pertaining to human beings only. It provides to, there is some branches called Vriksha Ayurveda, that is for plants, and Mriga Ayurveda for animals. Such branches also are there. So Asheshakayam is not pertaining to, it cannot be limited to the human body only. It provides to all sorts of living organisms. So this Apurva Vaidya alleviated diseases pertaining to all sorts of organisms. And which sort of disease? Aulsukya Moha Aratidan. Aulsukyam, with the diseases which precipitates Aulsukya, Moham and Arati. Aratidan means which gives, which produces the diseases which produce Aulsukya, Moham and Arati. Aulsukya means anxiety, Moham means confusion, Arati means disorientation. So any disease, Vagbhada considers any disease can result in these sort of symptoms at their terminal phase. So Aulsukya Moha Aradidan means a disease at its terminal phase. So even at that stage, this Apurva Vaidya could alleviate disease. That means it is a superhuman characteristic. That is why we call Apurva Vaidya is somewhat above the limitations of human beings. So Aulsukya Moha Aradidan means diseases which are having some sort of symptoms indicative of a terminality of the disease. So in toto, Vagbhada salutes an Apurva Vaidya who treated some diseases which are even at the stage of the worst prognosis, which are pervading to the whole body and the whole group of diseases which pertains to the whole body or even to the other living organisms also. So that is the salutation. So the primary point to take as a take-home message, we have to take as a take-home message, the beginning of disease is considered to be Ragadi. That is the message. A salutation is okay. That is you can take it as if you want, you can take it as such, even though you avoid such sort of salutations. That's a culture. Salutation of a god or somebody was a culture at the time of writing such sort of textbooks. So you can follow it, you may avoid it. That's your choice. But the important thing here to convey is that the basic cause of disease is explained to be Ragadi. That is the desire of worldly pleasures, something like that. With that, I am moving on to the next. Athato Ayushkamiyam Adhyayam Yakhyasyaamaha Itihasmahuratreyadeyo Maharshayah. That is the introductory verse in any chapter. Athato Ayushkamiyam Adhyayam Yakhyasyaamaha. We are going to explain Ayushkamiyam Adhyayam. Itihasmahuratreyadeyo Maharshayah. It is told by Atrayadi Maharshi. Maharshaya means sages. Sages, Atrayadi Maharshaya means some sages, a group of sages headed by Atreya. Atreya was a sage who is the strong representative of medical tradition of Ayurveda. On the other side, Dhanvantari was there, who is a sage representing the surgical tradition. Sushruta was the disciple of Dhanvantari. Here it is Atreyadeha. Atreyadeha means a group of sages which was headed by a sage called Atreya. It is the medical tradition of Ayurveda. And from Atreya, there was another master called Agnivesha, then Charaka. Some genealogy is there. That is not important here. But what Vagpada meant to say is, it is not my creation. It's not my ideas which are shared in this textbook. It was the ideas shared by masters from time to time. So that is the idea behind this. This is the beginning. Ayukamaya manena dharmartha sukha sadhanam ayurveda upadesheshu videya paramadaraha. Ayurveda, the second line is more important. Ayurveda upadesheshu videya paramadaraha. Ayurveda upadesha means the advices mentioned in Ayurveda. Videya means somebody has to obey. Somebody obeying. Videya means who has an obedience, or who want to respect. The paramadaraha. Adaraha means respect. So those who want to abide, follow the rules in Ayurveda, they have to pay respect to the content in Ayurveda. Ayukamaya manena means one who want to live long. Ayukama. Ayuhu means life, longevity. Kama means desire. Okay. So one who wants to have a quality life for a longer duration, that life is dharmartha sukha sadhanam. That ayus is dharmartha sukha sadhanam. Dharmartha sukha sadhanam means a thing which can produce dharmam, artham and sukham. Sadhanam means an agent or an instrument. So this ayus is an instrument. This ayus is a material, a thing which can produce dharma, artham and sukha. Dharma, artha, sukha are called purusharthas. In Indian tradition, dharmam, artham, sukham are called purusharthas. Dharmam is the dutifulness of a person. Dharma means, for example, Vaidya will be having Vaidya Dharma. Vaidya Dharma means the duty or responsibility of the person in that role is called dharma. Adhyapaka dharma, Shishya dharma, Putra dharma means a role, the duty of a person who maintains a role is called dharma. So each person will be having dharma. In the human life, persons will be having their own dharmas. So this ayus will be dharma sadhanam. Dharma sadhanam means the ayus will provide you a way to maintain your dharma. Artham means, can call it as wealth, and sukham is the happiness. So if you want ayus with the dharma, artha, sukham, you need to follow, or you need to pay respect towards the advices mentioned in Ayurveda. So that is a total aim. What a person has to do with Ayurveda, they have to follow the advices mentioned in Ayurveda to make their life fulfilled with the dharmartha sukha. So that is the initial statement regarding this. Is not the actual content of Ayurveda, but the aim of Ayurveda. What you will be bestowed with after learning Ayurveda, or how can you benefited with the Ayurveda is stated in this sloka. Again, this one is it's not as in the previous sloka, it is not a actual content of the Ayurveda or theoretical content of Ayurveda. It's just a mythology on how did Ayurveda developed in the history. It's a genealogy. How Ayurveda handed over during generations. It's something like a mythological description on origin of Ayurveda. So there is some mythology, some story regarding the origin of Ayurveda. It started from Brahma. Brahma is the mythological character or you can call him as a creator or of anything. So in that sense, Brahma is the creator of Ayurveda also. So Brahma Smrutva means Brahma, after creating, he recollected Ayurveda. Brahma Smrutva Aishwarvedam. Prajapati Vajigraha. Prajapati is the son of Brahma. So he handed over Ayurveda to Prajapati. So Ashwino, from Prajapati, Ashwin twins. Ashwin twins are the famous physicians of the heaven. So you can call them as celestial physicians. So Ashwini. From Ashwini, it is Sahasrasham means Indra. Indra is the mythological character famous as the leader of gods. From Indra, it is mentioned that so Atriputra Adigan Munin. Atriputra Adigan Munin means Atriputra means Atreya. We have already mentioned the term of Atreya in the primary verse. Atriputra Adigan means the sages headed by Atriputra. Atreya got Ayurveda, received Ayurveda from Indra. You can take it as a mythological story. This is not a one message you have to be clear with is that Ayurveda is not a creation of somebody, some persons or some sages and all. It's a tradition. The knowledge is handed over from generation to generation. In that sense, it comes from Brahma. Brahma means if there is a creator of the universe, Ayurveda also was created by Brahma, something like that. So it can be taken as a tradition from where it originated and in which way it was transmitted to generations. The another Acharya is there, Agniveshadigan. The Agnivesha is another master who was the disciple of Atreya. And they tu Prithak Tandrani Tenire means they constructed different textbooks. So from Brahma, Ayurveda was handed over to Prajapati, then Ashwin twins, then Indra, then Atreya the sages, then Agnivesha, and from Agnivesha onwards, what they did is they constructed textbooks. Tantram means textbooks. They constructed textbooks. So Ayurveda, Ashtanga Hridayam is a later development of such textbooks. You can say Ashtanga Hridayam is a finished textbook in this genealogy. That is the idea here. You can say the mythological origin of Ayurveda is represented here. तेभ्यो अतिविप्रकीर्णेभ्यः प्रायसारतरोच्चयः क्रियते अष्टांगहृदयं न अतिसंक्षेपविस्तरम्. This is the sloka regarding what is the aim of creating or constructing Ashtanga-hridayam. Tebhyo ati viprakirnebhyah means from the knowledge which is spread in a larger area. The knowledge of Ayurveda is spread in many branches are there. There are many. It's a vast knowledge. It's not a precise knowledge. It is a vast knowledge. From that vast ocean of knowledge, prayah saratara uchayah. Sarataram means essence. Saram means essence. Sarataram means more concentrated essence. Kriyate ashtanga hridayam. Kriyate means I construct ashtanga hridayam. Vakpada says I construct ashtanga hridayam. Na ati samkshepa vistaram means it is not that much over concised, neither over concised, nor over elaborated. It's an optimum construction. It's not that much concised or that much more precise and more elaborate. Or you can say without being too concise or too explanative. So in that sense, the whole knowledge of Ayurveda is essentially coded in Ashtanga Hridayam without losing its content and avoiding over explanation. That is the importance of Ashtanga Hridayam. These are the 8 branches of Ayurveda. Ashtavangani. Ashtavangani means Ashtavangani. Ashtavangani means 8 branches. Tasya Ahu. Tasya means of Ayurveda. There are 8 branches of Ayurveda, Chikitsa Yeshu Samsrita, where the treatment is encoded. So there are 8 branches of Ayurveda where the treatments are encoded. The names of those 8 branches are mentioned in the line here. Kaya, Bala, Graha, Urdhvanga, Shalya, Damshtra, Jara, Vrushan. You can add Chikitsa to each and every word here. Chikitsa Yeshu Samsrita. So Kaya means Kaya Chikitsa. Kaya Chikitsa means general medicine. Balam means Bala Chikitsa. That's pediatrics. Graham, Graha Chikitsa means that is psychiatry. Urdhvanga means the organs above. Urdhva means above. Urdhvanga means organs above. Means organs above the neck. Or you can say the organs related to the upper part of the body. That is ophthalmology, ear, ENT, even the diseases originating in head. So all those upper part of the body, superior part of the body, the diseases originating in such parts are dealt with in Urdhvanga Chikitsa. Shalyam means that surgery. Shalya Chikitsa. Damshtra is a Visha Chikitsa. Damshtra means that bites of snake bites or something like that. So Damshtra Chikitsa is toxicology. Jara Chikitsa is otherwise called Rasayana Chikitsa. Rasayana Chikitsa is the rejuvenative medicine. And Vrusham is the synonym of reproductive medicine, or you can aphrodisiac treatment, or for promoting the virility, sexual virility of a person. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Kaya, Bala, Graha, Urdhvanga, Shalya, Damshtra, Jara, Vrushan. So these are the branches of Ayurveda. So Ashtangam means 8 branches. Ashtanga Hridayam means the essence of 8 branches. So that is how the term Ashtanga Hridayam came into existence. Okay. Now we are moving on to the actual content of the textbook. Here in this sloka, it explains about Trayo dosha samasataha. There are 3 doshas. Samasataha means in short or precisely. So you can take samasataha as a meaning. The meaning of samasata is precisely, or here it is in brief. In brief means there can be any number of combinations, but in brief there are 3 doshas, Trayo doshaha. Names of the doshas are mentioned here: Vayu, Pittam and Kapham. Vayu is otherwise called Vatam. Pittam is usually use the term Pittam. Instead of Vayu, usually we use the term Vatam. They are synonymous to each other. Kapham, the same term is used, normally used. So Vayu, Pitta, Kapham means Vatam, Pittam and Kapham. They are called Trayo doshaha, 3 doshaha. Trayaha means 3 types of doshas. So directly Vagbhada connotes 3 terms without explaining any introductory note. There is no introduction. Directly entering into the content of Ayurveda, there are 3 doshas called Vadam, Pittam and Kapham. So details will be dealt in the coming areas. After giving or after denoting the names of doshas, he explains what is the importance of this dosha. That is a statement here. Vigrita Vigrita Deham Knandi Te Vartayandicha. Te means they. In English it is almost similar. Te means they. They means 3 doshas. Deham Knandi. Deham Knandi means destroys our body. Deham Knandi means destruction. Deham Knandi means destroys our body. Causes destruction of the body. Deham Knandi Te Vartayanti. Vartayanti means maintaining. Vartayanti means it causes the maintenance or it supports the body. On one side, doshas destroys the body. On the other side, doshas maintain the body. So there are two situations. Those situation is called Vikrita Avikrita. Vikrita means abnormal, Avikrita means normal. That means when tridoshas are in Vikrita avastha, when tridoshas are normally functioning, it Vikrita means abnormal. Vikrita means abnormal. So when doshas are abnormal, they deham knandi, they destroys the body or they causes difficulties in the body, they causes disease. Okay, Vikrita Avikrita, here the splitting of the word is important. Vikrita plus Avikrita. So Vikrita is responsible for deham knandi, Avikrita will be responsible for Vartayanti. Vartayanti means maintains the body or maintains the health of the body. So in short, when doshas are abnormal, you can call it as a disequilibrium. So when doshas are in the state of disequilibrium, it contributes to the disease. And when doshas are avikritam, avikritam means under equilibrium, it maintains the body. So that is the role of dosha. So in short, there are three doshas in the body. In their normal state, it contributes to the health, and in an abnormal state, it contributes to the diseases. So this is the, you can call this as a Tridosha Siddhantam. Siddhantam is a statement where you declare something. Two things happened. One, declaring the names of the doshas, or there are three doshas, that is a declaration. The second declaration is how doshas affect human body. Vikrita, Avikrita, Deham, Khrandite, Vartayanticha. This is the beginning of the Tridosha concept in Ayurveda. Wherever you see the term Te, now onwards, naturally it means Tridoshas. In that order, this order is very important. Vayu, Pitta, Kapham. Anything explained after this point, the order will be maintained. You have to understand the names of these things will not be that much restated. It will not be repeated. Sometimes from now onwards there will not be much repetition of the name, but that order, Te means, doshas means Vadam, Pittam and Kapham, not in a reverse order. You cannot change the order. So that is the style of presentation in Ayurvedic textbooks. Whichever is the order mentioned primarily in the primary statement, that order will be followed in the coming verses. So that is an understanding. That is called Vidhanam. Vidhanam means it's a specific order. Every time we need not repeat the names then and there. We take if there is a mention of te means doshas in that order. So in the very next sloka, te vyapino api, te means three doshas. Te vyapino api hrinnabhyo ratho madho urdhva samsrayaha. Vadapitta kapha. Te. Vyapinaha api. Api is a term which can be translated as even though te vyapinaha, even though they are vyapi means spread in the whole body. Vyapi means to spread. So even though they are spread throughout the body, te vyapinaha api hrinnabhyo radho madhyo urdhva samsrayaha. There are some landmarks in the body. Hrit means hridayam. Nabi means umbilicus. So there are two landmarks in the body, Hrit and Nabi. So you locate the Hrit means almost the cardiac region, and Nabi is almost the umbilical region. So you consider these two landmarks. And Hrinnabhyo Radho Madhva Urdhva Samsrayam. So adho means below. Below means below umbilicus. Madhyam means in between umbilicus and or in between Nabhi and Hridayam or cardiac region. Madhyam. Urdhva means above Hrid. So they vyapte vyapinaha api, even though Vadam, Pittam and Kapham are all pervading in the body, spread out to the whole length and breadth of the body, they are specifically samshrayam means specifically attached. They are based respectively. Based means samshraya means you can depending on. So even though Vadam, Pittam and Kapham are all pervading in the body, they are specifically present below the umbilicus, in between umbilicus and cardiac region, above the cardiac region. In which order? Vadam, Pittam and Kapham. That means Vadam below the Nabhi, Pittam in between Nabhi and Hrid, Kapham above Hrid. That means if you divide the whole human body into 3 sections with the landmarks of cardiac region and umbilicus, Kapham will be above, Pittam will be in between, and Vadam will be below. That is the relative positions of. Then also we have to remember te vyapinaha. They are spread throughout the body in each and every living part of human body. Vadam, Pittam and Kapham are there, but specifically they have some affinity to some specific regions in the body. Totally, you can divide the body, if you can divide the body into 3 parts, they have a specific affinity to these 3 parts below, in between and above respectively, Vadam, Pittam and Kapham. So that is the meaning. This is a very important concept. So within these slokas, we introduced the names of doshas. Then we went for what is the meaning of dosha, what is the role of dosha in human body, and now we represented Vadam, Pittam, Kapham respectively in 3 regions in the body. So with that, I am concluding this session. Actually, what does this video mean is to you that whether this sort of explanation is sufficient for a better understanding of Ayurveda, whether this whether it is enough or whether you need some other sort of style of presentation. Even without learning the slokas, I can make you understand what is mentioned in sloka. With the sloka means the advantage is you can be familiar with some terms, because the translation is not that much advisable. For example, if I translate Hrid as Hridayam or heart, it is not that an organ which is called heart is not referred in this sloka. In this sloka, Hrid means a region where heart is located. It is not actually the heart itself. So in that sense, when we translate Hrid as heart, the meaning will be perverted. So it is always better to stick on to the original terms, in which at least the technical terms. Other terms we can go, for example, Vyapinaha is a spreading. There is no difference in meaning. So you need not remember the term Vyapinaha, but you have to remember the term Hrid Napi perfectly, because it's not if you translate this into umbilicus, Napi is usually translated to umbilicus, but Napi here means the umbilical region. So it's better to use Napi itself. So in that sense, that was my intention in explaining these things with the help of slokas. So you can opt for the other option also. I can explain without slokas all the meanings and all the concepts and all. or I can take some classes on Ayurveda with the help of some PowerPoint presentation, some representations, figurative representations and all. That is up to you. So the basic intention of this video is to know whether you are compatible with or convenient with this sort of presentation or not. We will move on to other presentations after getting a feedback from you. So for the time being, bye, goodbye.